Welcome back, everybody, to Mock Draft Mondays here on the HighLowSports podcast. We are about 1 month away from the NFL draft, which means another chance to try and take a guess at how this draft is going to play out. Of course, we have a few more of these left. This is going to be the last one we have that doesn't involve trades or potentially a second round. We're still waiting for more pro days and a few different things to play out as part of the offseason process, but we're going to jump right into it. Third time's the charm. It's going to continue to be Cam Ward number 1 overall to the Titans. There just hasn't really been anything to suggest otherwise. Probably the top-rated quarterback on most boards. Tennessee, they do need quarterback help. They've done nothing so far in the offseason to show that they're going to stick with Will Levis or bring someone else in. So we're going to take Cam Ward off the board number 1 overall yet again. Number 2 with Cleveland is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. I know there's still a lot of smoke about is it going to be Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, etc. This week, we're going to go with Shedeur. I don't think quarterbacks are going to go 1 and 2, but this week we're going to play out along those lines. Maybe Cleveland brings in that Russell Wilson or somebody else, then Shedeur could sit behind him for at least a little bit. Next up, pick number 3, the New York Giants, now led by Jameis Winston. The one that makes the most sense here is Travis Hunter. You got arguably the best receiver in the draft, according to some, and one of the better corners in the draft, the versatile Heisman Trophy winner. And the best part is he could be your top receiver next to Malik Neighbors, and he can also make the tackles for when Jameis Winston tosses his 30 touchdowns and 30 picks. So it's the best of both worlds. We're going to toss Travis Hunter to the Giants. Next up, the Patriots and Mike Vrabel leading the way. They spent a lot, and I mean a lot of money on defense in the offseason. I expected them to look to the offense for the draft, but if Abdul Carter is sitting right there, I don't think they're going to even risk taking a miss on that. They're going to take arguably the best player in the draft out of the gate, Abdul Carter. Pick number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a lot of holes. Liam Cohen is going to try and get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, so they owe a lot of money to right now. Mason Graham makes a ton of sense. You stick him in there between Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, plug up the middle, let the edges get free. I do think a receiver is also on the board between Ted McMillan, Matthew Golden, etc. I think there's a lot they can use, but I'm going to stick with the chalk pick like I mentioned. We're going to go with Mason Graham just to try and solidify that defense. You got to stop the Titans running game, Jonathan Taylor and the Colts running game, and then whatever Houston does with the running game, if it's Joe Mixon, etc. So we're going to go Mason Graham to plug up the middle. Pick number 6, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. Ashton Genty's kind of become the hot pick, but with Geno Smith coming in, I do think they're going to go receiver, and I do like Ted McMillan. A really good pro day, that fast 40 time at like 6'4", 220. I think this gives them that number 1 receiver they need to pair with Brock Bowers, Jacoby Brissett, and give Geno Smith some targets. So we're going to go Ted McMillan at 6. Pick number 7, the New York Football Jets. Will Campbell's right there. I do think they saw what the offensive line continues to have injury issues. The health is with Elijah Vera Tucker and some of those guys has been very erratic, so I think they will bolster with Will Campbell. Obviously, Armin Membo, Tyler Warren are all great picks here, but we're going to go and take Will Campbell to supplement a little bit of guard tackle swing versatility. Carolina Panthers at pick number 8. We're going to go edge. This has been a popular pick. I like Jalen Walker. I love Shamar Stewart. I like Mikael Williams, Mike Green, Jace. There's some really good edge rushers, even if none of them stand out. None of them are quite that number 2 right after Abdul Carter. I think they're all kind of in the same group. So we're going to go with Jalen Walker, their most productive one out of Georgia. We know how the Georgia defensive linemen translate pretty well. Just look at the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to take Jalen Walker at pick number 8 to the Panthers. Number 9, the Saints. They also could use some edge help. We're going to go a little bit off track with this one. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to go Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Demario Davis getting older. Just everybody on that defense is getting older, frankly. Just trade away Marshawn Lattimore during the season. They need to reload a lot of things. We're going to give him Jahad Campbell to say playmaker. They could pair with Demario Davis and just have rangy off-ball linebackers and someone who could kind of take that mantle because Demario Davis has been such a pinnacle piece of their recently really good defenses. Chicago Bears pick number 10. If it falls this way, I think they will be ecstatic. You got Armin Membu. You got Kelvin Banks. You got whatever offensive lineman you need. I know they spent some capital on offensive line, so this feels like they have a little more versatility. I'm bullish on it. You need to do everything you can to give Caleb Williams the chance to succeed. Ben Johnson knows how important that offensive line is. Ashton Genty would be incredible here. Like that would really give him that backfield, kind of like what he had in Detroit. But with how deep the running back class is, I think he's willing to wait. So we're going to take Armin Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. This gives you the chance to move either Braxton or Darnell Wright inside. You can move Membo inside to go with Tooney. There's so many options just to keep loading up on that offensive line. Now we have the San Francisco 49ers at 11. Offensive line is huge for them too, and I think Kelvin Banks is very much live. But I'm going to give them Will Johnson the corner. They lost Ward in the offseason. The secondary was really not nearly as strong last year as it had previously been. I think edge is very much in play with Shamar Stewart and those guys, but we're going to give him Will Johnson the corner out of Michigan, who I still think is a top 10 player in the draft, even if some people have him going up or down on the boards because he didn't have a fantastic last year, but he's still awesome. Pick number 12, the Dallas Cowboys. I want to give him Ashton Genty. I really, really do. I think this is where he should go. This would make the most sense, but the Cowboys are going to Cowboy. We're going to give them Kelvin Banks, the offensive lineman out of Texas. They invested so much money in CeeDee Lamb and Dak. This will help them fortify, lock up that offensive line, which has gotten really old. Zach Martin leaving. They really need to get some more big boys in there. So we're going to go Kelvin Banks. This is another one. Imagine this would be very different if Miami decided to go with Ashton Genty here, considering everyone on their team runs a 4.2 40. But I like this pick here with Malachi Starks. You got to replace Javon Holland. You could use corner as well to go with Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, Jedi Barron's a very good pick here. They need both of them, honestly. Nick Emanwari would be a great pick. He could do a lot of different things. We're going to go with Malachi Stark, so I still think he's the best safety in the draft, and I think it makes a ton of sense for them. Next up, we have the Colts at pick number 14. Ashton Genty and Jonathan Taylor would be absolutely bat-ish crazy. But Shamar Stewart's a good pick, but their GM sucks at hitting on edge. They drafted a ton of edges in the last 10 years, and not a lot of them have hit. We're going to go with Tyler Warren. After missing Brock Bowers by like a pick last year, I think they're going to add a tight end. Give Anthony Richardson all the help in the world you can get at this point. If he's going to make the jump next year, make it so it's impossible to not know. So either he's going to make the jump with all the weapons, or he's not going to make the jump and you need to replace him. Or if it's Daniel Jones, whatever it may be, we're going to give him Tyler Warren, the versatile tight end. And here we are, pick number 15. It's starting to get really interesting, but we are going to go with Shamar Stewart. The edge is important for Atlanta. They really need to hit on edge, so we're going to go with Shamar Stewart. Arizona, kind of in the same vein. They need some help defensively. Jedi Barron would be a great pick, but we're going to go with Mykel Williams. This is where I think we see a little bit of the edge run start to go. So we're going to go Mykel Williams here. This is where I wanted to have a little bit of fun. Cincinnati pick 17. Ashton Genty is sitting on the board. So many running backs, but they need edge if they can't bring in Trey Hendrickson. That seems to be the issue. And Cincinnati decides, you know what? We are going to go all in. Our best defense is going to be us outscoring you and putting pressure. And Ashton Genty's ability to break tackles, apparently with Chase Brown's explosiveness. That's arguably the best player in the draft offensively. It's going to head to Cincinnati at pick 17. Won't make any sense to us, but you know what? They're going to have fun with it. It's a pure vibes pick. And right here we have Seattle at pick number 18. A lot of different directions they could go here. They could go. Honestly, they need a lot of help right now. They need offensive line help. I think offensive line is the biggest need. But if you look at offensive line, Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly, there are some good players there. Tyler Booker. The value pick, it's going to be up to them. Seattle is known to get a little bit wacky when it comes to picks, but Mike Green looks to be the one they want here. Matthew Golden, because they need receiver help a lot. This is tough. I think I'm going to... I kind of like the Matthew Golden pick, so I think I'm going to roll with that just to give them a true speedster to replace the DK Metcalf and the Tyler Lockett's, so that way more room for JSN to do what he does, work and get open. They did bring in Cooper Kupp, which he does a lot of the same things, not necessarily a burner, so we're going to bring in Matthew Golden to take the top off that with that 4.2 speed. Tampa Bay, pick number 19. I like Mike Green here. I really like Mike Green a lot here. He gives you a very talented, versatile edge who's flying up the draft boards. Tampa Bay's needed to kind of replace some of that defense, that pass rush ability they've been missing since the Super Bowl run. So we're going to go with Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. Denver, pick number 20. It's interesting because they've talked a lot about running backs in the offseason, that sort of thing. I do like Colston Loveland. I do like Kenneth Grant. I like a few of these guys. Receiver, they could definitely use the Emeka Ibukas of the world. Defensive line, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan. Like there's a lot of really good options here for them, honestly. Like they're a very good team that has a lot of openings, but like they're recommending here, I'm gonna give them Travion Henderson. I think they're gonna go with the burner out of Ohio State to pair into that backfield. I think Sean Payton's gonna look at what he was able to do with someone like Alvin Kamara, and I think he's gonna be able to do a lot of that with Travion Henderson. Omarion Hampton's higher rated prospect, but I think the explosiveness of Travion Henderson is gonna allure Sean Payton. So we're gonna go a little bit off chalk there with that one. Pick number 21, Pittsburgh. There's a lot of talk of if he's there, they might draft Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe, something like that, like really go off script, trying to more or less fix that quarterback spot. I don't think they will in the first round, though. I do think what will make sense here is Kenneth Grant. Mike Tomlin loves to just have that defense. When someone gets older, they have someone ready to go. They just keep loading it up. Cameron Hayward, while he played great last year, he is getting up there in age. Bringing him to play with someone like Hayward in the middle, just gives you more options on that defensive line to stop the run in that division where you have Baltimore's run game. You'll have Cleveland, who Kevin Stefanski is known for having usually a really good run game when he's calling the plays. And then, of course, in Cincinnati, you have that explosive offense where all of the money's invested. So we're going to go with Kenneth Grant, pick 21. Once again, the Steelers make an interesting pick that everyone scratches their head, but it works out. Now, pick number 22, Omari Hampton would have made a lot of sense here. However, just bringing in Najee Harris, Colston Loveland makes all the sense in the world. We're going to do it again. This one is kind of like Cam Ward number 1. We're doing it every single week. The Harbaugh reunion, athletic tight end, gives Herbert more weapons, another athletic tight end to pair with the ones they already have, like Will Disley. And we know he could block a little bit, so we're going to go with Colston Loveland here. Pick 23, this is the Packers, and I think they have a great option here to take Jedi Barron, a very versatile corner. They might have to replace Jair Alexander. It looks like he could be on the move. So Jedi Barron gives you a very versatile Brian Branch-esque defensive back that you can utilize all over the secondary. 24, Minnesota Vikings. Honestly, I like the suggestion here, and they were right on top of it. You could just take a very athletic, versatile piece like Nick Emenwari. Sorry, that I ruined that one. I apologize to Nick and his, my goodness. But either way, you could bring him in there. You could play him at linebacker. You could play him at safety. Brian Flores is going to have a field day with him. They spent a ton of money in the offseason on that offensive line and defensive line with Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. Bring in the versatile piece like Emenwari. Line him up all over the field and just have a field day, and he can learn from someone like Harrison Smith. Houston, if it is not offensive line, we have a problem. Josh Simmons is sitting right there, offensive tackle. They got rid of Laramie Tunsil. They basically gutted the offensive line that didn't perform well last year, so I think they need to keep building at Josh Simmons. All the sense in the world here. 26, the Los Angeles Rams. This is somewhere where James Pierce would make a lot of sense for sure. At receiver, they do need some help. I really do like Luther Burden here. I know Emeka Ibuka's right there. I think him and Puka do a lot of similar things, where I think Luther gives someone who could take the top off a little bit more, somebody who could really stretch the defense out, and you could put him in the slot with Puka on the outside. The way they run all those tight formations with the receivers in line tight, I think Luther could do a lot out of there. So we're going to go Luther Burden to the Rams, just loading up to give Stafford all the weapons they can in this final hoorah. James Pierce to the Ravens makes a ton of sense. It looks like the best player on the board. He could go much, much higher very, very easily. He could be the one that just randomly kind of slips. Baltimore ends up with just taking the best player on the board, and it works out, which is what they always seem to do. Detroit at pick number 28. Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, these guys make a lot of sense. But as we always talk about in these, their secondary, the Teron Arnold did not play all that well last year. Carlton Davis that isn't coming back, so corner is a huge need for them. Both, I think, safety and corner are very useful. So we're going to go with corner. I like Siobhan Ravel, honestly, out of East Carolina. Maxwell Hairston is freaky athletic. We're going to go with actually Hairston. We're going to say they look at that. They're going to look at his freaky athleticism. We're like, okay, we can work with that. Next up, Washington at pick number 29. They have had themselves quite the offseason. And I think they're going to you lose Jonathan Allen. I think they're going to look at Walter Nolan sitting right there and be like, okay, we can use that. He's a very good, I think he's a top 25 caliber player in this class. So getting him at 29 is a very good value. Pick number 30, the Buffalo Bills. This is where we're going to go a little bit off script with it too. I'm going to give them Emeka Ibuka. I know him and Khalil Shakir probably a little similar too, but I think Emeka Ibuka is just a good player. Like he's just good. He's been there. He's the all-time leading receiver in Ohio State history, if I'm not mistaken. But he's arguably never been the number one receiver on the team. He's just consistently productive and gets things done. So we're going to add him to Buffalo. I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, all right, Khalil Shakir's nice. Keon Coleman's nice. But if we're going to not have that quote-unquote number one standout receiver, we need to have an absolute committee. And I think Ibuka gives them a chance to not only have that committee, but someone who might be able to make that jump. Kansas City, Tyler Booker, book it, if you will. They need getting rid of Joe Thuney, load up the offensive line, rebuild the trenches. Easy. And now we got the most loaded team available right now in the Philadelphia Eagles, who really don't need anything. Derek Harmon makes sense. Load up the defensive line. Same with Donovan as well. We look at receivers. There's not a whole lot of fun picks here for them to take. Running back, maybe Omari and Hampton. Pair him with Saquon Barkley, but they did just bring in A.J. Dillon. Corners, safeties, there's a lot of good there. I like Xavier Watts. I think he could be a lot of fun. In fact, that's going to be where we go. This is Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. The Eagles get the ultimate luxury pick here. They could take whatever they want. They have all of these really good players. I could see them trading back very easily too. but we're going to give them Xavier Watts to round out the first round, just continuing to load with the secondary, especially after getting rid of CJ, GJ, Chance Gardner-Johnson. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the draft, who is going, and anyone you think might be a surprise. And of course, tune in every Monday for Mock Draft Mondays leading right up to the draft. Next week, we'll start including things like trades, second rounds, etc. But that is all for this week's episode. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday evening for our live episode with me and my co-host, Kelsey. And of course, check out our last week's episode where we talked with Zach Kyleman ahead of the UFL season getting ready to start. We appreciate y'all for joining us, and we will see you all again next time.